Hopefully my internet comes through. Yeah, he's coming on.
What's poppin', man?
What's good?
I'm trying to. What's good with you, man?
And I kind of look Lebanese. I can
You
blend
do
in.
actually. Hey, I just want to say, man, your work is so fucking clean, man. You know, hey, everybody appreciates you and the shit that you say, man. You put a lot, you shed a lot of light on things. To get into the Lebanese thing, man, I'm gonna give you guys some real insight.
Okay.
Check this out. So I grew up in Lebanon, man, and I've lived there for a really big portion of my life, like 9 years of my childhood, where we were in a post-war where and this I'm going to give you a crazy insight on this because it's going to blow your mind. So after the war ended in 91, we moved back over there, and I was living in like pretty much rubble over there. But when the war ended, the religions all decided it was a civil war between all the religions, and they decided to make a pact, right? And this pact was that they would segregate the government in a sectarianism fucking style government, which means according to religion, every person gets a certain thing. So our president is only allowed to be Christian. I could never be the president of Lebanon. Certain positions are applied. Now, these guys that took these positions were all the war criminals. Our president was somebody who actually, he is so bad. His name is Michel Aoun. He is so fucked up. He was actually a killer in the war. He was a general. He blew my dad's car up with a fucking rocket, but well, not him personally. He ordered the attack. These dudes destroyed everything and then became in charge, and then they took over. So in the last 30 years, it's been the people that fucking like pretty much caused the war, started it and created peace. And then over these last 20, 30 years, they have stole all the money to the point where pretty much like we had a fire that happened in the country that set the whole entire country on fire. And pretty much our fucking planes that we spent $6 million for to not have engine parts because the motherfuckers sold them. So the country burned, and pretty much all the people were putting out the fire, and the government watched the country burn. You'll never see some shit like this anywhere. Fast forward to what's going on with the ammonium nitrate shit. So the ammonium nitrate shit is pretty fucking crazy because you have to look at all the fucking all the leads. A lot of Hezbollah members have been popped before for having tons of ammonium nitrate on them in Cyprus, in London, in Germany, and in Kuwait. They got popped with tons of it on them. Same way. You know what I'm saying? Syria and Iran are both ammonium nitrate dealers. Now, if you look at the fucking situation, you realize that this stuff was confiscated and all this. But at the same time, they're the ones that are bringing this shit in, and they're hiding it amongst the people because if they put it in the known locations, that shit will be targeted and eliminated. So they figure if they hide this shit underneath the city, like what would be equivalent to putting a fucking nuke under the Staples Center, that people won't hit that shit. Now, of course, this is speculation, but everybody knows in the back of their head that this is a stash that was going to be made to be used as explosives to fight against Israel. And most likely what happened is Israel found out about this shit because they have the best intelligence in the fucking world. And, you know, Lebanon don't got no fucking encrypted shit. Like everybody knows what's going on over there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, at first they were trying to say it was fireworks, and then they took that back. So like that already looks bad that they were, you know, that seemed to be like the official narrative that it was fireworks for like 4 hours. And then they said, no, it's where stuff was stored. And on what you said, I saw a video of Netanyahu last year kind of explaining where the sites were. So that was definitely.
So you want to hear the craziest thing about the sites that he explained? So out of those 3 sites, if you remember, he mentioned a fucking soccer field. I played soccer in that field. I could confirm to you that there's rockets there.
So there are rockets.
What he said, I could confirm to you is real. That area is fucking insane. So they knew about the place. So pretty much he said last year he knew about it. Then you got Hezbollah leader threatening to hit his ammonium stash, telling him we could nuke your city. He told him this last year. He said, we know you got an ammonium stash, Netanyahu, in Haifa, and we can hit this shit.
Does Hezbollah have a lot of influence in Lebanon? Do they have
they run this shit. Ain't nobody could do nothing to them. Look, make no mistake, bro, and I want you to understand this. Al-Qaeda, all these fucking terrorist groups that have been talked about throughout the years, ISIS and all them, are jokes. Hezbollah is the real fucking deal, and that's why you have to have a certain amount of respect for them, and it's always been that way.
because out here, obviously, we're just totally oblivious. Like I did a lot of research into Syria, and like the narrative that the left and the right believe was just totally like outlandishly wrong. But like, you got in Lebanon, you got the most Christians. Now it used to be in Syria before the Syrian war, and then that kind of their Christian count went down. So Lebanon is now the #1 place where Christians are. But you're saying Hezbollah runs it. So do Christians get along with Hezbollah?
Well, nobody can say anything to Hezbollah because the thing is about them is like Christians are really pacifists now. After the war, they pretty much, they're not as aggressive as they used to be. They're actually the most peaceful people, I'd say, in Lebanon. You know what I'm saying? They're like more open and they're more westernized. You know what I'm saying? So,
but they don't bother them like this, like the Hezbollah and them, like they just kind of keep to their own type.
Hezbollah runs the show because you have to understand, bro. It's real, like, it's a real group that was born out of some real shit. It's not a joke. It's not ISIS. ISIS fighters came to Lebanon and tried to play around in the mountains, and there's like footage that I watched of like Hezbollah dudes lining like bodies up, like 250 ISIS dudes just dead in the street, and they're pissing on them, and it's not a joke. Like, you don't send little fighters to fuck with these people. They're the craziest fighters on the planet. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's how people need to know. Even the whole narrative around Syria and ISIS was a lie, because you have the United States government acting like they couldn't do something about it for 5 years. We have an Air Force. We have like a water division. I always
make no mistake.
The Navy, it's like until Trump got into office through the Obama, they were just like, we can't do anything. They took over. Was it Aleppo? They were just destroying Syria. And then Trump gets into office. Within 2 years, they're gone. I was like, they could have been gone at any second. If you're talking about the United States military versus, like you said, they're a joke. They don't even have an Air Force.
Listen, man, they created this shit. Obama created all this shit. He created the vacuum for ISIS, and McCain was part of the, a lot of people still look at McCain's death as some regular shit. But when you look up the wrinkled flag and the fact that he was with the ISIS leaders, and the fact that Trump said 5 ISIS leaders died, and people were like, oh, he's an idiot. He doesn't know there's 4. Really, McCain was one of those motherfuckers. And this whole thing, because, Bain and Company, bro, like, I know you understand all this shit. Bain and Company manages all these motherfuckers. So Mitt Romney, Dick Cheney, all of them are fucking under the same management. Like, and people don't understand this when you think, like, who are the politicians puppets to, right? And when you think about it, it's people that manage them, like that company, which is like the biggest one. Hillary Suits, when you look at her pantsuits and all the shit that she wears, all that stuff is fucking being managed down to like what they say, what they look like, what they have to. So these people are such fucking puppets. They were all part of the agenda. And when Trump came in, obviously he's not into that war because it's unfamiliar territory for him, and it would be bad for just the American dream. Like, we're not neocons. We're more about putting America first, because we understand what's happened over the fucking years. Like, Biden selling out to China too is not going to help it. So.
And I know probably, because you say this stuff on podcasts and in the rap world, like a lot of people look at you like, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. But what you just said that last 10 minutes, like, these people aren't talking about shit. Like, they don't understand anything. They just talk generic stuff. Like, for instance, all this stuff with Romney, McCain, like what they're really doing. Like, Romney's not out with Black Lives Matter because he cares about black people. Like, that's not what he's turning against Trump, just like McCain. They have connections. I think with Romney, his family to the Ukraine stuff had connections. And with McCain, he was running that whole operation in Syria. So as Trump is reversing what they're doing out there, defunding like $1 billion programs, he's flying his ass out there to meet with these leaders. And then his daughter's on television saying, oh, I'm a Republican, just not Trump. I'm like, you want to bomb Syria. You don't care. You don't care about Republican values. You care about the Syria agenda. That's their.
I think this goes with what you were saying about, like, you have to understand, like, it's true, like, presidents are not elected, they're selected, and Democrats and Republicans are the same fucking wings off the same bird, you know what I'm saying? Because of people like Bush, Romney, and all them that are not Republicans. They're not Democrats either. Real Democrats are like Henry Wallace, who are gone now, like people that were like classic liberals, bro. And you understand the difference between a classic liberal and whatever the fuck this new shit is. You know what I'm saying?
They're pretty much just doing communists. I've got some old books, like, from like the early 1900s to really see, and like, they're just straight doing communism. They're
Manning Johnson, right?
Yeah, I got his book. I picked up his.
Oh,
his
yeah.
Color, Common Sense, and Communism. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a banger.
so one thing I want to tell you, being from Lebanon, we've had communist fucking groups. I've seen them live up front, like what they look like. I'm from an area where we are born into socialism, where our family members, our relatives are real militia socialists. Not like these socialists. No, I can show you what socialism looks like when it gets to its maximum. This is why people need to listen to me, but they don't understand. I've lived it. 4 hours of electricity a day, no community medicine, all that shit that they promise you they're going to do because they centralize the power and they give it to one guy. So we got one guy in the mountain who pretty much is a billionaire, who owns everything, but all of us are poor as fuck because we were told in the beginning, it's called Progressive Socialist Party. That's everyone that's around us. And believe me, over there, you get your ass whipped if you say some shit about them. Them and Hezbollah are probably the craziest too.
Even in Portland, it's like, it's not going to be the Starbucks barista that's like scrawny and his back's bent over because he plays too much Call of Duty. That's not going to be the kid who runs the show. It's going to be the strongest force on the ground. So
no, those guys get shot. Like Yuri Besmanov said, those guys get lined up on the wall and shot. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's literally, sure. I've seen it.
And they're doing it in LA now. They're turning off the power and the water if you try to run your business or have a party. Like, that's straight out of the book. Like, literally turning your water power.
It's illegal what they're doing.
For sure. But that's what people need to stand up. In New Jersey, there's a guy called Ian Smith. He's running his gym. He's got a huge beard down to here, but he keeps running his gym. They arrest him. He goes back, kicks down the door. That's what everyone should be doing. Like, it's not legal what they're doing, but only like 5 people are fighting them in court. Maybe more. I think there's one Christian leader in LA, but like, why are people putting up with this?
Okay, but that's the beauty in America, bro, because guess what? They're going to be able to sue everybody. Like, that's just America. Like, they're going to do that. Whoever gets their house and water shut down are going to be able to file a lawsuit when all this shit's said and done. I promise you that. It's just how things work here. It's all loopholes. It's the reason why politics takes so long for announcements to happen, and Trump acts stupid and acts like he doesn't know shit. But you see, my only criticism of Trump is, I think Trump, where he fucks up is that he wants to be known and it's because of the Democrats. It's not his fault. It's because they have villainized, like, they turned him into a villain so much that he wants to be known that he knows beforehand, and he wants it to be known. So he sprinkles little things like the hydroxychloroquine, which turned out to work for him, right? And I think that was smart that he put that out there first, so he could be like, I told you so later. He's very smart in that. But where I don't agree with it is, I feel like he alerted China to the inevitable, what's going on with them, by him early stages saying, I got some intel that says it might be from a lab in China. And here's the reality. We know that our intelligence knows it's from there. But if we announce that, it's a declaration of war. And this is why politics is so crazy, is that we have to act stupid so we don't announce that we know that, like, okay, the lab, the NIH, the money funded, the Fauci shit, the fucking Dr. Xi Zhengli, the fucking fat woman, you start connecting all of them, you know that's where it came from. You can't be that stupid. You know?
I always say, too, with America and the China, like, it's like poor and rich people crime, where it's like rich people crime, they're not out just murking each other. They're doing sneaky ass shit because they're like too high up to like send bodies out. So all this stuff, what you were saying with the lab, a lot of people don't know. Anthony Fauci headed the NIAID. They funded a lab in Wuhan that was studying that coronavirus manipulation, where they were taking back coronaviruses that didn't go into humans, making them go into gain and function. And that's confirmed. And it's like, it's not confirmed that this came from there, but you put one and one together. The fact that no one's talking about that or researching, it's like, is a huge red flag.
Yeah, man, because like you see all these things, and you could just add the pieces to the puzzle by yourself and know that, like, obviously that's what's going on. And the World Health Organization getting defunded and all that following up, we know that that's what was going on, because the government's not stupid. If we know, like, obviously they're gonna fucking figure it out that they're getting played at some fucking point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't take rocket science, like, unless they're all fucking compromised, which I believe like 90% of them are. But there's a strong part of our government that actually they're good guys, bro, and they actually don't want us to have all mandated vaccines, and they are talking about therapeutics. And you constantly notice how they throw that in there, and they throw the therapeutic thing in there to let you know that this is still America, and we will fuck you up if you try to give us some shit we don't want. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not taking it. And I know we definitely have guns, the Second Amendment, and there's definitely a lot of them. So the silent people that are like letting people burn down their own cities, these are the fighters that are like, not going to take it. And even historically, all the bad regimes, everything bad always comes to an end. So like these people, they try this plot and it backfires every single time. So here is a lot different. Yeah, it's not like Russia or any time in the 1900s. Like the amount of guns that we have, per person, per patriot is
we have
outlandish.
500
So
million guns and 10 billion rounds of ammunition.
Yeah, I don't want it to get to that point, but it's like I don't know where you guys think you're going. Like the Patriots are letting you burn down Portland because nobody cares. Like you go to Middle America, they're like, I don't go to Portland anyway. Like that's your neighborhood. But if you bring that to their neighborhood, it's like, even in LA, they went to Santa Monica, they went to West Hollywood, and then they went to Huntington Beach, and the Huntington Beach people were like, get the fuck out of here. Like Chuck Liddell was out there and like bodybuilders and shit. And they got the fuck out of there like instantly. It's literally that easy because they're not strong people. They look for like weak crevices and then they get their ass beat by like a federal agent. They start crying and shit.
Honestly, like the Portland shit, like is an experiment. Like I was telling people the whole time, people were getting mad. Like, and that's another reason. Like, here's my criticism on Tucker Carlson. I think he's a fucking nerd. He's the best, but he's a fucking nerd because when Portland started going on fire, he was like, oh my God, like someone stop it. Like Trump is not a real leader, man. Like he started tripping, right? And I'm like, this fool's tripping. Like you got to know something. They're going to let Portland burn because there's no other way to explain to people how socialism doesn't fucking work. There's only one way to do it, by letting them see how it... What did we see? We seen some fucking idiot come up like, yeah, man, we're totally free, man. Check out my tomato garden, man. I have 2 tomatoes right here, man. Check it out, bro. Like, what did they do with their little government? That was the whole thing, is to let them experiment. And guess what? The beautiful part about America is that you see something like that and you're like, damn, these kids, these white kids are protesting white privilege while exercising their privilege to have a country within a country, which if anywhere that would have happened, you would have got executed. Like if they would have did that in Lebanon, they would have got shot. They would have did that in China, they would have got organ harvested. They would have did that in Iran, they would have got hung. But in America, they were able to do it because you have the freedom to say, you know what, man? I'm going to fucking make a little country over here and take over. I thought it was cool. I'm going to be real with you. I thought it was amazing that it happened, even though it was pissing me off that people were dying. But I think it was amazing that it happened because it shows you, like, bro, that's just America. Like, look, they let these fucking dickheads literally form a government for fucking, like, 2 months. Like, it's crazy. Like, where else
either way, like, I always keep my calm where, like, you had a lot of people on the conservative side who felt a certain way. But I was like, if he does it, that's cool. If he does, like, if he says in the agents, it is what it is. But if he lets it slide, like you said, it's entertainment. Like, I just fire up the Twitter. I start peeping these videos of them just like, setting their own shit on fire. There's the one kid who was a radio host, and he was like, I don't see it. Like, Trump's lying. And then they set his whole, like, apartment complex on fire. He was like, oh, shit. Like, this shit's getting real out here. And I'm like, bro, you can't just let someone burn your whole city down. Like, you can't. You have to have some sort of law and order, some sort of regulation, or you're going to get your ass. I think there was one dude, like a SoundCloud rapper, that just took over the whole area. He was like, I'm stronger than you. Like, go get me coffee. And they're like, oh, shit. Like, literally, he just had guns. Like,
amazing. Like a SoundCloud rapper taking over a whole area. Like,
that's what happened. And he just, like for a week, like, he was just like, I'm running the show. And these kids were not strong enough to really, like, say anything. They're like, okay, man, I don't want to be racist, so, like, I'm going to just let them do it.
Check out my tomatoes, man. We got a water generator hooked up to the Prius, man. We're totally running here, man. Fucking this shit is like hilarious, bro. In 3 months, all this shit's gonna end. The coronavirus is gonna go away. The stock market's gonna go back. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Gold is going up. Crypto's going up. So for the people who want some positive messages, man, there's money in other places right now. Just you got.
You sound like Davey Day Trader in Barstool Sports. He says the stock market only goes up. He said, buy.
And guess who gets mad when that happens? All the fuckwads that pretty much want to keep America fucked up. And as soon as the economy starts recovering, hey, bro, have you seen Bill Maher? Bill Maher saying last year.
Yeah, that he wanted a recession to beat Trump.
He said, it's okay, man. Let the economy crash. He's like, so what?
I don't care if it hurts people.
As long as Trump gets out of office, this is where we're at, bro. Like in the beginning, there was parts where I wasn't sold on Trump, but when you realize that he's standing in the way between people that want to literally end your life, like physically and mentally and literally end your fucking life.
He's doing 20 times more than Bush and Obama, and people just got so attached to the narrative, the villain narrative, the emotion behind it, where it's literally like, I'll slap myself in the face just to be Trump. I'll starve myself. I'll put 5 masks on myself. I'll light my own city on fire. It's like at a certain point, you're just a psychopath. Like when Obama was in office, I was just like, well, he smokes weed and plays basketball. Like that might
well,
work.
no, we voted. No, let's be honest here. I mean, I feel like we all did, and I'll speak for myself. We all voted for it because we wanted a black president. We were so stupid when the elections came along, and me at least, I wasn't politically, like, I didn't know as much as I know now, so I was just on the face. I was like a liberal, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but also, who were the options though? You have Mitt Romney and McCain. Those are like,
I hated Republicans because you had.
So either way, if they would have won, it wouldn't have been like this. This Trump election was different. Where like if they would have won, it almost would have been the same shit. So like the best option was like at least this guy's new, and he seemed like cool, you know. Like,
but you got to know, I was coming off the Bush era. I was coming off the Bush era, so for me, Bush, like he got a shoe thrown at him in Iraq. You got to know how Eric just felt about Bush. Like being a neocon or a conservative for me at that time, I perceived it because I was younger. I was like 18, 19 years old, bro. It was in my beginning stages. I was in America only fresh, like fucking 4 or 5 years here. So I just perceived it as this is going to be the friendly guy. He got an Arabic name. He's black. You know, oh man, I'm fucking voting for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they got us.
Well, even with the Bush stuff, like people don't even realize, like Bush doesn't like Trump, Obama doesn't like Trump, McCain doesn't like Trump. And the reason is not because they're amazing people that like really care. It's like they know that they can't control this guy. And also I know some people in here, I'm reading some comments where it's like, you know, for decades, rappers and a lot of people have been talking about prison reform. I wrote my senior speech on it. He actually did prison reform. He got thousands of people out. Like he actually moved. Like he's ambitious. He's got the mind. Like every day he's doing something. It was like Bush and Obama. It's like they were just puppets. Like they just stood there, didn't do anything, started a few wars, literally almost accomplished nothing. Like people don't understand the dynamic between. We have 2 options, but I know a lot of people are trapped in the narrative of just like it's evil. Anything's better than him, and it's like it's really not. Like this. Biden is not better, and he can't talk, and he's corrupt. It's like it's crazy. It's like a manifestation of how fake they are.
It's crazy how they're willing to push a person that's half dead, just to
that's like how brainwashed people are. I feel like it's a humiliation ritual. They're like, how dumbed down? Can we put a mask on their face? Can we make them wear mittens? Like you got people out here looking like human characters. Can we make them vote for Biden? It's like he might not even like he literally by September might not be able to talk. But people will still, that's like the mind control. That they say kneel, jump, run. People, I saw someone on the plane with a mask and the visor over the mask, and they look at me with their eye. I just see their eyes. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Calm down.
Yo, no, listen. I was listening to the Biden interview with that guy, with the reporter that he said, "Come on, man, what yo." So if you listen to that whole part, right? He literally, I don't know if you actually like dissect what he's saying from the beginning to the end. He literally never strings together more than 2 or 3 coherent words that go together. Like he literally continued to say, I'm forward to looking to standing there with Trump. He said, I'm forward to looking to standing.
Bro, he legit has dementia. Like they said, Trump has dementia. Like I really think he has dementia, and it's not right. It's kind of sad. Like it's a sad thing that they put him there, but people really are that dumb. Like they're like, well, Trump messes up. I'm like, bro, watch a fucking Biden interview, man. It's not like a mess up. Like he's straight. Is like, and he does the thing with his mouth like. You know, like that, dude. That's some like serious dementia shit. It's not fair that they're doing.
You know, what's the crazy part is they let a person like him, like when I see black folks actually like believe him, and they let him say, "Yo, it's like, yo, you take a cokehead test." Like he said, you take a cocaine test. Like he's literally saying that to him because he's black, fool, and like
you know what's even
crazier is him saying. They're going to put y'all's back in chains. What? I'm like, yo, why is he talking like that? Why does he think talking to black folks with that accent is gonna get to them more? And then just saying you ain't, like watching a grown fucking 80-year-old white guy from whatever fucking racist place he's from say ain't, like you ain't, like if he would have said you're not black, it would have been half the problem. But he said you ain't black. Like,
he's losing his mind, but also if you look at his videos from the 90s, he was never cool. He's one of those guys, like even Bernie, when Bernie Sanders was like 30, he looked like he was 150. Like he actually looks cooler.
Man.
He looks cooler when he's 70. Like Biden looked like a retard when he was 30.
Come
he actually
on,
looks
man.
like cooler now. But like you listen to him, he's always been angry. There was one, it was a black Supreme Court judge who was trying to get passed through. I forget his name, Clarence Thomas. And he was just so rude to him and screaming at him. Like he's never been cool. He's never been a nice guy. He's always been like emotional, like a woman, just angry. Like, and now he's losing his mind and he's angry. So it's a bad, like his handlers are probably like off camera, like, but why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just put someone else there? I think it is like a humiliation ritual, like / corruption, where it's like, how dumbed down do we have people? Even with the, you know, I have some people who follow me and friends who play professional sports. It's like, bro, they took away your fans. We got virtual fans and everybody's kneeling. It's almost like you're kneeling to them. I understand you think you're doing it for activism.
I reposted
but like,
that.
We got you're across each other on a bench. You can't sit next to each other, but then you go out on the court and sweat all over each other. Like they got you like controlled. There's like all computer generated fans. Like that's the big scoop. Our whole country's being stolen. And you're like bowing to them.
I reposted that you put out about that because you know what? One thing that I want to talk to you about this, especially before we get off, man, before anything happened, I really want to talk to you about this because nobody's talking about this. So one fucking war that's happening right now that nobody's mentioning, not even the conspiracy theorists are onto this, nobody is the fucking race to arms that's happening again. But this time it's with fucking quantum computers. Now, I'm pretty sure you did a little studying about what quantum computers are, but what I'm hearing from what they're able to do with quantum PCs, all right, it's basically this, bro. The fucking computer, the quantum PC was turned on for 5 minutes and they asked it to solve like the hardest fucking equation ever, and it solved it and they shut it down because of how much fucking energy it fucking requires.
They say the Google's got one. They say it's like, I don't know how many 10,000 times smarter than a person, but like it's like exponentially apparently.
I'm gonna say some crazy shit. Look, man, they don't have one that's up and running right now, but they're all fighting to run it. Now, Tesla, the problem with Tesla and Zuckerberg and these fucks is that they're involved in that technology and they fucking gave it to China. This is where the problem is. Now, the race is happening to see who could get a quantum PC first. Now, what a quantum PC could theoretically, I'm going to tell you what it theoretically could do. Then I'm going to tell you what the fuck it can really do. All right? Theoretically, a quantum PC could fucking print a city into existence. Like literally print out fucking cities. They could print food, a hamburger. They're already doing this shit. The lab meat and all that shit is literally printing food, but they're talking about they'll print a hamburger that looks so perfect and it tastes better than a real burger. So people are going to want these printed fucking burgers in the future. Now, let's get to where they're at now. A quantum PC means passwords are obsolete, bro. It means a quantum PC will look at your password no matter what it is. That means the nukes, the password for the nukes, the fucking, the highest CIA fucking intelligence block fucking firewall that you could imagine. It will look at it and go and calculate every possible password in a split second and filter it all out and literally crack the code. There's no more code. So stock markets could just be manipulated. Numbers won't matter. Planes could just fall out of the fucking sky. Having a real quantum PC like what they are planning on putting out is actually changing the game so much that whoever is the first person to activate the shit and actually run one is going to enslave the rest of humanity, and they're going to be the only sole superpower, and it's going to be either America or China that does it.
Well, I know, like they have the quantum technology to just be tens of thousands of times smarter than a human. So to even put that into context, like you can't even really fathom it. So what it can accomplish is, exponential to what we're doing. So I think even with this shutdown, like that's where I'm talking about with the activism. It's like, listen, I've been on the police brutality tip and the criminal justice reform, but like right now they're doing supercomputers. They're doing, new
It's
internet
over, bro.
connections that turn into facial recognition. They're replacing you with virtual fence. They're not thinking like you. They're using you like useful idiots to just distract people as they do this thing. And I want to make this funny because I know people are probably freaking out. They say we went to the moon in 1969 and they destroyed the technology and they don't know how to build it back again. It's like, bro, we have supercomputers that are 100. They didn't even have a computer like as strong as a cell phone back then. And they said they went to the fucking moon. And then now
that
we
goes
have
with what you were
supercomputers and
saying
they
about
still can't do it.
that goes with what you were saying about them trying to see how dumb we are and how they can make us wear masks and shit like that. Those explanations are examples of that. Them telling us that we don't have the tech anymore is like, all right, shut up, you're stupid, you'll believe this, like, just go away. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely a bigger deal. And like I think even now, a lot of people are after the shutdown, a lot of people are coming to terms with that. But then people get lost in the sauce and all these other side units because like once you realize something bigger is happening, but then there's like the average person that just is wearing a face filter over a mask. And I'm just looking at them on the plane and it's just getting annoying because like if you want to do this to your life, that's one thing. But like she says when we get off the plane, we're all packed, the whole thing, every seat, every row. She says, make sure you social distance when you walk off the plane. And the whole plane laughs at her. Everybody laughs at her. And they're like, social distance? We're all like, so fine. That was like a silver lining. I'm like, you don't get it now? They're just making shit up. There's no science behind you sit right next to each other and then stay 6 feet apart only when you walk off. Like it's like NBA players have to stay apart, but then they're sweating on each other and boxing each other out. That's not science. That's like control. You froze up a little. Let's see.
Yeah.
Man, they got you they got us froze. We'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Reason why is I'm gonna try to save it. This was a good
I'm gonna
convo.
go
I'm gonna try to
outside
save
real
it.
quick.
When it's too long, I can't save it. So let's wrap it up in a few minutes so I could try to save the whole joint and I'll put it on my YouTube before they delete it. All right. All right, I'm gonna just end it so I can save it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks. That's Dizaster with a Z. If y'all didn't know, on my page. God bless y'all. I'll be back soon. I'm gonna try to put this on YouTube. Very rare discussion.